Yo, what's going on, yo? I'm JBHOOPS, and today I'm talking about the most impressive performances from day one of the Las Vegas Summer League. Starting it off, I'm going to quickly talk about the two games yesterday because I didn't really want to do a video just on them. The first matchup was the Magic versus the Rockets, obviously two top prospects. Paolo really showed out, put up 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists, and he really showed why he was the first pick in the draft. He was getting to his spots and showing his touch in the mid-range specifically. Defensively, he also looked pretty solid. His foot speed is a little slower than you'd like it to be, but I also think that could be effort related. Another standout from the Magic was Caleb Houston. He really went off in this game. He dropped 20 points and 6 rebounds on just 12 shots, including shooting 5 of 9 from 3. He shot the ball really well, and I think he'll definitely carve out a role on the Magic roster this season. And then as for the Rockets, obviously Jabari Smith wasn't the best. He was decent, pretty good defensively, but the poor handle and lack of a left hand is still very much an area of improvement. Who was most impressive for the Rockets was definitely Josh Christopher. He had 22 points and had a ton of nice possessions getting downhill, getting to the rim, and then he also had a really nice pull-up mid-range. And then on to the second game of yesterday, we had the Pistons versus Blazers. Another top pick matchup with Jaden Ivey going against Shaedon Sharpe. First up, Jaden Ivey definitely impressed. He did struggle to start, but once he slowed down a bit, he was able to get to the rim with ease. He did a really good job at kicking out to shooters, and he even hit a few threes too. I don't even think he played that great for his standards, but he dropped a super impressive 22, 6, and 6 in his first Summer League game, so that was definitely one of the most impressive performances. I think Jalen Duren's impact also stood out. He only played 11 minutes, but he dropped 9 points and 2 blocks and was just a monster out there. I really hope he plays more in the next few games because I really want to see what he can do. Another super impressive thing out of that Pistons team was Isaiah Stewart. Apparently he can shoot threes now. The Pistons are trying to fit him in at the 4 playing next to Duren, which will definitely be easier if Beef Stew can knock down the 3. So the Summer League was definitely a great start for the Pistons. As for the Blazers, Shaedon Sharpe pretty much got injured straight away. He played about 5 minutes and didn't look super confident, but he also drilled a super smooth turnaround. I hope his injury isn't too bad and we get to see more of him because he's really interesting as a prospect. But other guys that stood out for the Blazers were Jabari Walker. He dropped 14 points, 7 rebounds and a block. He was really impressive in his minutes. He crashed the glass, defended well and even hit a 3. And I think he's a guy that will earn minutes off the Blazers bench this season. And probably the most impressive guy in this game for the Blazers was Keon Johnson. He looked very good, showed off his crazy bounce, hit a few threes, and if he can shoot the 3 consistently, he'll get NBA minutes very soon. Now onto the games from today. First up with the Mavs versus the Bulls, I thought Jaden Hardy was excellent. He really showed out, was getting to his spots, beating his defenders off the bounce, and he also got to the rim much easier than he did in the G League last season. He had a few late turnovers that probably cost him the game, but for the most part he played really well. And I think Hardy will make a lot of teams feel stupid for letting him fall to 37. Another standout for the Mavs was definitely AJ Lawson. He is a shooter. He dropped 28 points and went 6 of 11 from 3, and I think he'll be a guy to look out for getting signed to maybe a 2-way contract, because if he can shoot anywhere near that well, he'll definitely have a role in the NBA. As for the Bulls, Marko Simonovic was very solid. He was just a force inside and has a nice touch around the basket. Defensively, he was pretty solid as well, and he probably won the game for the Bulls. So I think he definitely could be a third string big for the Bulls this season. Next up is the Spurs versus the Cavs, and there was a ton of standout performances from this game. I think Blake Wesley was probably the most impressive. His burst and handle was really tough. He shot 3 of 4 from 3, and I really think he's going to be a super important piece for the Spurs' future. Another guy next to him who was really solid was Josh Primo. He looked really comfortable out there, was good defensively like always, and also made some nice passing reads, as well as going 5 of 7 from 3. So I definitely think he's going to have a major role with DeJounte Murray gone now. For the Cavs, I think Amar Silla played great. He ran the floor hard, crashed the glass, and was quite impressive defensively. He moved pretty well in space. He dropped 19 points, so he was super impressive, and I don't even think he missed. Ochai Agbaji was very solid, but I kind of expected that from him. And then Luke Travers was also another guy who looked better than I expected. He can really pass and defend. If he can knock down threes at a respectable clip, I definitely think he'll find a role in the NBA. So those are my standouts for the Cavs versus the Spurs game. Next up, onto the Hornets versus the Pacers. I think Bryce McGowan's looked really solid in this one. The shooting stroke is clean. He made some very nice passing reads as well. And if he can add that level of playmaking into his game, he's going to be a real problem with his physical tools and shot-making ability. For the Pacers, the standout guy was definitely Benedict Mathurin. He just looked so at ease out there. He hit his threes, got to the cup, and ended up scoring 23 points in just 20 minutes of playing time. Next up, onto the Nets versus the Bucks. I think David Duke Jr. was the most impressive guy for the Nets. Cam Thomas did drop 31, but we all know what he can do. But I really like how David Duke Jr. got to his spots. He made some tough finishes inside and also hit a few threes. And I think he could be a rotation player for the Nets next season and will definitely get minutes if KD and Kyrie end up going. And then as for the Bucks, one of my favorite players in the draft, Marjon Beauchamp, really impressed. He locked up defensively, went 3 of 6 from 3, and then also showed a few flashes of on-ball creation, which I'd definitely like to see more of. But overall, he was super impressive in this game. And another impressive performance for the Bucks was Mamu. I'm not trying to even pronounce that. There's no way I'm going to get it right. He was very solid, knocked down 4 of his 5 threes, and I think he's going to be an important player for the Bucks bench next season. Now on to probably the most dominant performance of the day, which was Moses Moody in their game versus the Knicks. He was really dominant. He was scoring at will, knocking down threes, pulling up in the mid-range, getting inside and drawing fouls. He ended up with 34 points on 8 of 13 shooting, including 15 made free throws, which is crazy. For the Knicks, I was super impressed by Ferran Hunt. He had a very impressive performance. He's crazy athletic, a really good finisher inside, and just got out in transition a lot. And most of the time, they were off his plays on the defensive end, where he picked up 7 steals, which is crazy. And Jericho Sims also reminded everyone how insanely athletic he is. He had some crazy dunks. And then Quentin Grimes also had a few nice passes. Now into the last game of this video, which was the Wolves versus the Nuggets. I don't think there was really any standouts in the Lakers versus Suns game. So on to this game, I think Josh Minott was incredible. He had 22 points and 10 rebounds and really showcased his talents that he wasn't able to display at Memphis last season. He hit 2 threes in this game and his form looks to have improved a little bit. Defensively, he was good like always and just really showed his versatility. The Nuggets didn't really have any particular standout player, but Christian Braun was very solid. He was able to finish inside and in transition, but his 3-point shot just wasn't falling, so I don't really have any standouts for the Nuggets. Alright, that's all I've got for this one. Let me know if you want to see this series continue. So I might end up doing these recaps every day about my favorite performances and most impressive performances of each Summer League day. So leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more. I'm nearly at 1,000. And that's all I got. JB Hoops. Ow.